my old friend.
Hey, bud, what you up to?
I want to dedicate this show to one of our favorite people that listen to us, and we appreciate from the 3021 tremendously.
Yeah, hey, this has been a very good listener. He's commented on all our comments, or all our shows, excuse me. Thank you very much. I mean, there's been plenty others that have contributed to us. Thank y'all all.
Yes. And, of course, sometimes when you're doing something like this and you're making yourself vulnerable, it's always excellent to hear an encouraging word from people to say, hey, man, I appreciate what you guys have done. Give us some more. So we decided that we would talk about one of our favorite shows. Let's tell you who we are. We've talked about in some of our shows about driving four-wheel drives, and, of course, we both drive four-wheel drives. We both live in southern Arkansas. We both...
Wahoo!
I like gasoline engines. I've always had them. But now I've experimented a long time ago, and I'm looking toward the future into where we might go. And all we're going to talk about is where we're at, where we've been, and where we're going to in terms of cars. There's some interesting stuff out there, specifically when you start looking in terms of safety, when you start looking in terms of dealership situations, which is totally changing with Ford and with Tesla and any kind of EV vehicle,
Yeah, the way people shop for cars these days.
It's totally different. You don't do it like you didn't go up there to quote unquote buddy and say, hey buddy, send me a car, and him put an extra $6,000 on it. Ford, let's start right there. Ford recently just jumped out their president, which is like a fifth generation Ford, and said, look, these dealerships of ours are getting out there and selling a truck that we have MSRP at $99,000. They're selling it for $140,000, and they're putting too much in their pocket. They're getting too rich off of it.
Right.
So they're saying, hey, we want to change it. We want to make it to where we can be competitive. We want to compete with Elon Musk in the way he's able to do things, because the dealership model he's under is totally different. He doesn't call it a dealership. He calls it a gallery. He doesn't have to follow the multitude of laws that each state and the national government has in regard to a dealership. So things are changing up some. We know that. We know that cars have changed up in the last few years. You used to be able to do certain modifications, but now you have to do different kinds of modifications, although at the very end, may or may not be the same thing, maybe the same thing, but it's different. The car market is different. Again, we're these red-blooded American males. We like to put the meat in the hole. We like to eat red steak. We like the meat in the hole. I mean, in the barbecue pit, the barbecue grill. That's what I mean by that.
Oh, I get that. Well, with the dealership model, I mean, it has always kind of been changing, but, until, sadly, COVID and the lockdowns and the people quit buying vehicles, quit going places. And, and if you pile on top of that, remote, people working remotely. Well, people got more used to dealing remotely, buying things. And so what was kind of only a sometime thing they were trying to get into the market with, as far as like online ordering direct from manufacturer type stuff, they were able to achieve better because the dealerships couldn't afford to keep all the car lots. Our local dealership up there, I see maybe 2 new vehicles and several used ones. It's just the trafficking, the marketing, the keeping that inventory in a parked place that don't sell good. They can't do that no more. And, to compete with Musk to them, excuse me, Elon had the very unique position to be able to R&D and trial things on the run. I mean, he could using the most advanced things, the most brilliant minds, because he had enough money to just throw at one problem. I'm gonna pick 3 models of what we call an automobile, and I'm going to concentrate on each one of them and make it the most efficient, the fastest, and then we're going to make it to where people will love them or want them, or just entrenched by them
and can afford them.
I mean, when we start talking about red-blooded South Arkansas males, I mean, look, I'm more of a mechanical guy. I mean, I love hey, somebody needed a transmission fixed, we'd all gather up on the weekend and half a case of beer or something, crawl around in the mud and the grass on a piece of plywood, swapping out a transmission. I mean, but that was hands-on stuff. Now, my buddy, he didn't do all that. He was more cerebral.
Well, I'm more of a psychologist, and I still am. You come to me, and I can help you with that kind of shit. Just as much as you can help me with the others. It's a bartering system. We have to look at the world like that. And not everybody brings the same skills to the table. And I don't. I would hate for the world to be all the same. I would hate for it to be all me because we wouldn't even have fucking gasoline engines. But if it were all you, motherfuckers be knocking each other in the head with a fucking stick.
Yeah, I know. You know, to quote one of our favorite movies, I'm a lot of Walter. You're a lot of dude.
I'm the dude, man. You know? So that's what you call me.
But you know, truly, when you start talking about the the old school experience, we're also talking from the perspective of Gen Xers. We didn't have the tweaking and this. I mean, we never even heard of anything much more than blowers. Big block engines. Well, then of course the rice burners, the Fast and the Furious come out. Oh man, all the stuff you can do to it. It's just now the electric cars are going to be more, aftermarket motors that do better, and same
programming.
You're right, programming. It's all going to be tuning, and it's a very important distinction. In terms of, are we losing the ability for the future to be able to do more hands-on stuff? Are we losing that tiny skill to where it's going to become a problem later? Well, we do see that a lot.
Sometimes.
But
now,
go ahead.
But now, under the new dealership model, and this is the way you repair vehicles and upgrade them even, you're going to have people that are, it scares people. We've been in a culture for the last several years where people are scared of people that know shit. But there are a lot of people out there that know more than you do. They know more than me, and they know more than Donald. And what instead of me having to carry my shit to a dealership and drop it off for 7 or 8 days, the kind of upgrades I'm gonna get now will come from a satellite at 2 a.m. while I'm sleeping, or kind of like a satellite internet guy coming over to work on your house, sometimes between 4 and 7 on Sunday.
Well, just to touch on that very vein, the cars of the future, and we're already kind of there. We'll get into the next topic, which is going to be Toyota's hydrogen cell engine, which is awesome. But cars are going to become like cell phones.
Yeah.
They're just going to send out firmware updates, little software upgrades, and the people who like to tinker, tweak, get the most speed. Oh, I got 3 more torque out of this.
You can still do it.
Yeah, you can still do it. It's just, I think that's going to become further between because the level of understanding of people that can get into that level of, the electric car works off, drive technology. I'm an industrial electrician and electrical and instrumentation tech. And, the IGBT technology is not the same thing as the old, transistors and stuff. I mean, it's way faster. It's not MOSFET. It's good. There's way better control, less weight, less current demands, and it gives you a lot more options. So the technology has improved tremendously.
Yeah.
And, we're going to have to eventually adopt something like it, but it is electric, right? I mean, because we do still have the thing of you had to have the, touching on climate, the green gas stuff. I mean, is it green having to make the electricity to charge the car? All right, so now I'm going the Toyota.
But let me say one thing about that.
Yes.
The Toyota, though, it's probably electric, too.
Yes, in many ways it is. But it's a different power supply.
I got you. So but you see where it's going, though.
Absolutely.
And I can see with electricity. Let's go move on to those carbon things in just a minute. But let's talk about this for a minute. So I've been watching these guys have these Teslas. And they're out there, they're racing these muscle cars with these, hooded vehicles with the NOS systems and all that kind of stuff. Silently, they are whipping their ass. Right now, they're not doing it to the level of tweaking electronics as much, although they've been tweaking batteries. But what they've been doing, you mentioned the word there, WEIGHT, weight. So I've seen these guys that have a family car, a Tesla. They go out to the drag strip on Saturday night. They'll take out a seat. They'll change the rims out. Even though it's only 7 pounds. 7 pounds. But at the end, that 7 pounds is about 2 seconds. So then you start adding these other little aerodynamic stuff to it. And you start putting your tires on it.
Right.
So you start doing this stuff. And you start figuring out, man. As you said, this ain't your grandpa's Chevrolet.
No.
I mean, this is not the same. Now, you have an Android and you have an Apple.
It truly is apples and oranges.
It is. And that's what those are. They should rename Android Apple Oranges. Yeah.
Good job.
but yeah, they should because Android people, that are more techie, like you, tend to have Androids.
Yes.
People like me, I like a hybrid car.
You like automation.
I don't want to have to deal with the back end.
There you go.
I'm worried about other things.
I'm a tweaker. You're just let it work right.
If it doesn't work right, I'm going, please help me.
Yes, that's it.
But now I have a little bit of a tech background.
True.
So, I mean, I even at a college level, I taught computer classes, both in terms of application and programming. So, I mean, I know about computers, and I know about automation, and I understand robots, and I understand this technology that you're about to tell me about because I've read about it. So tell me about what you're seeing Toyota doing. Now, I'm gonna fill you up a little bit on Toyota and the hydrogen drive that you're going to talk about. But again, in 2006, I went to the people that helped me finance stuff, and I said, hey, I want to invest in the future by having a car, because I bought into the whole thing. I was like, hey, if I pick up 7 pieces of trash on the side of the road per week, and I have a vehicle that is more safety conscientious, that's more environmentally conscientious, and I push my buggy back to the thing at the Walmart, and I'm nice to the old ladies up there inside the store.
Take the stairs, elevator.
Wherever.
Yes.
Or doors, whatever. If I do all that, I'm being a good person. You call me a Christian, call me a Buddhist, call me that's a decent boy right there. Whatever you want to call me. I wanted to be a fellow human being because, number one, I kind of got off into studying about spiritual things for a couple of years there. So I was like, I want to do my part, okay?
Absolutely.
And a lot of people do that.
Yes.
People can make fun of me down in the South where I live and go, I tell you, boy, that's dumb as shit right there. And I agree with them because I drive a fucking Toyota 4-wheel drive. A Toyota. I drive a Toyota. But I do. I do that. And, of course, here's the reality, is that it's okay to make mistakes. We all do. I mean, it's okay. You're okay. So, I'm very happy with the fact that I can make that decision now. But for a while, I did my part, and I did that. And even still, the 4-wheel drive I have, if I drive it on a freeway highway or interstate highway for 250 miles, I get 25 miles per gallon. If everybody is correct when they tell you about the hydrocarbons and the weather change, 105-degree weather that I'm seeing here when it's supposed to be 90, flooding in Kentucky when it's not supposed to be, tornadoes at Christmas, then there's something going on. Some people can argue we're causing it, some people argue we're not, but the business world is preparing for it, just like Toyota is preparing for that hydrogen drive.
Right. I mean, it goes back to, excuse me, you got to prepare. You hope for the best and plan for the worst. I mean, whether you believe climate change or not, it doesn't matter. In the end, it will be what it will be. But the folks that aren't just feeding the news to you with a spoon, are, you're not taking the time to actually figure out for yourself on your terms, not listen to this person to say, well, go to this site, they tell you the truth. No, you just do a general search and you start clicking. You read multiple articles from multiple sources. And when you start noticing these conflicting stories, you will finally start trying to find there's a middle ground there. But, okay, so now that's that part of that. But go ahead, please.
Well, just real quick, though. One of those things I've been reading about that's pissed me off, and a lot of people I know about, is these elites up there bitching about cows polluting the environment, methane. And I'm like going, hey, man, I like a fucking cheeseburger, okay? And I know a lot of people like cheeseburgers, but now the Toyota elites are going, hey, guys, you don't have to be upset. We have something here that we've created, that we've invested lots of money into to at least make an advertisement about it, create a car around it, create a whole dealership opportunity around it.
Man, we have teased this enough. Let's go.
Tell us about it.
All right. So, like we were discussing, one of the big arguments was the charging of the batteries takes an hour, and plus the energy is not green.
Musk,
right. Yeah. All right. So,
and fossil fuel is obviously bad.
In many, many ways, we know we have to use it. We cannot just cut it off.
No, we can't cut it.
we have to use it, but we can find alternatives for gasoline.
We're traveling, transporting every day. Daddy
there you go. All right, so what they've come up with is the hydrogen fuel cell. I mean, a lot of people, if you go back, the Hindenburg, you say hydrogen, they think unsafe, the Hindenburg, oh, the humanity. I mean, that classic shot. Well, they've since discovered that, no, it wasn't the metal skin. It was the interaction of diesel fumes and, that caused this accident. All right, so the newer technologies actually gives us that chance of bypassing a internal combustion engine running on water and being able to jump directly to the hydrogen oxygen splitting, creating enough electricity fast enough to actually have 400 miles of travel, and it only takes about 10 minutes or so.
Let's talk about that 400 miles, because that's a very big point.
All right.
If you and I both talked about this before on multiple occasions. But now every vehicle you get, if you go buy a Toyota Prius, if you buy a Chevrolet Silverado 4x4 Z71, if you buy a Toyota TRD, if you buy an Acadia, a little Range Rover, you can get about 400 miles out of a tank of gas, whether it be 16 gallons, 10 gallons,
26 gallons,
whatever.
My truck is 26.
Yes.
I think you said yours
16.
was 16. There you go. So, but we both get
400 miles.
About 400 miles, give or take. I mean, depending,
Yeah.
of course, driving conditions, etc.
Now, so that's the standard. Now, Elon Musk with the Teslas, I will throw in, he's now with some help from outside modifications are claiming they can get 700. That's interesting. We can go back to that at another day, okay? But the reality of it is that you have to stick to those. You have to at least to achieve that level of standard. Because if you come in below that,
if you come in below that, then I'll stay with my
but now this,
gas car or whatever.
But now the car you're talking about or the vehicle does that. I mean,
it actually does. I mean, because it addresses how long it takes to refuel.
Yeah.
The electric
and it's
versus
15 minutes.
And it's
30.
Right. Yeah, with the video I think said 10 to 15. I mean, but now it's predominantly in California. We know most people will call it a super liberal place, but
But if it's good and it's economical, then it could grow out everywhere. That's like the hybrid did. I mean, I had.
But
in
and
Arkansas,
there's the thing
in Arkansas, South Arkansas,
they have invested enough money in. Back to the methane, trying to offset that stigma of using methane because everybody gripes about it, and they took a totally different process. If you look up actually how you can split hydrogen from water, there's electrolysis. The electrolysis is the one I know the most, but it's very energy intensive.
Okay.
There are a couple others, but this particular one that we're talking about with methane, they're actually going to try to use that methane that everybody complains about from cows. I mean, they actually
right there. So the Japanese and us both like what?
Beef. We like meat.
Yes. I went to the store before and looked at some beef from Japan.
Oh, hey, look, you watch anime meat. Hey, if you watch anime meat stuff, they're always like, he gets 5 pieces of meat. Now, that's a very obscure reference. If you're not an anime guy, you probably don't get that, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, the Japanese, though, good meat is worth it. They eat mostly vegetarian, seed.
Because they have to.
Because they have to. So, yes, beef and other things were extreme delicacies. Anyway, all right. We digress. Please.
But no, because sometimes they would get a cut of meat, a beef, and they would do very special shit to prepare for it. It's kind of like your papa.
It's like buying the turkey for Thanksgiving.
Well, you got to dress it up, but now it's also like papa or mama going out saying, "Hey, you need to slow down and go smell the roses. You don't get but a little bit of this life thing." So you got to slow it down.
Delicacy.
It's a delicacy.
Right, but it's a true delicacy because, of course, their environment, which was now why they grow the best beef.
It is the best beef.
Wausau beef.
That's it right there.
I say they focused on, we want beef. We want meat.
It was good.
We want it to taste the best.
$116
and now, you know what?
a pound.
There you go. You will now pay for that specialty.
Okay, so they love beef like Americans do.
Yeah. So they took a very difficult thing that was an environmental problem that a lot of people were complaining about.
Yeah.
Methane. Well, tell you what, let's keep our beef. Let's maybe change how we raise beef because the current way is unsustainable to the environment. But if you can find ways to do that, collect it, they have found a way to economically
Let me tell you something
do
about-
that.
let me
Now,
tell you
there's that big term, economically be able to do
Well,
a very difficult process.
That's
Okay,
the
now, please.
Japanese. That's
Yes.
that's an island people. The truck I have right now
Yeah.
is a Japanese-based truck. It's a Toyota, and I've had multiple of these. I put a lot of miles on vehicles. I've had several hybrids. I've had several trucks. I've had cars back in the '80s because I'm older dude. I've been around Toyotas for a long time, and Chevrolets, Dodges. I mean, I've been around it all. Acuras.
We like options.
I like options, but I've been alive for a long time. And my Toyota pickup was built in the United States of America, Texas, by the way. And it is the best. It's one of the best trucks you ever get. The trucks that were built in Texas, the Toyota trucks built in Texas, have the highest consumer ratings of any truck out there. Period. Now, after the first year, typically when these trucks come out with a new generation, it kind of goes down. But within 3 years, the customer satisfaction goes up because Toyota always makes shit right. And
Well, they try to. I think they
they
have
don't
a
produce
larger.
bullshit.
Going a little bit back to you looking into the Eastern philosophies. I mean, a lot of the Japanese follow we'll lose a little money now because if we do a good job,
It'll come back to it.
it will come back.
Yeah.
Thus, if you want the best beef in the world, you will pay out the nose. And they look long term. And
That's right.
that's a patience thing.
That's right.
That currently, we keep talking about if somebody doesn't listen to international news, and again, now I listen to BBC, NHK,
Australia,
Australia.
everybody.
I listen to many, many news sources.
All of them.
This inflation shit is not Biden. It's not here. It's not just here. It is all over the world.
People don't want to hear it because I
True.
agree with you.
Yes.
He's right. But now let me tell you something. People always. I don't know what it is with the Japanese people. China, it's not so much. They're kind of like Americans.
Yeah.
I consider it's like if you want to look.
They are.
They're because a lot of them are good. A lot of them are really fucking horrible. A lot of them are kind of questionable. They would do right if you showed them the right way. But the Japanese people I always hold to a higher standard. Because when I learned about Japanese Eastern cultural study,
Hey,
philosophy,
The
Buddhism,
stereotype of honor to my family
They
and
do
I
high
lost
quality.
face.
High
Yes.
quality.
They believe.
they push in high
Yeah,
quality.
go ahead, please. Yeah.
That's what they do. These people don't fuck around. To use an Americano out here in the southern places where I live, they don't fuck around. They knock that shit out the park. Whenever they do something, they come up there and they do a good job. We had a movie, I forgot what it was. It was like with Michael Keaton from the 80s. And like this car company moved in town. They bought the old thing. And it was, whatever it was, we can all Google it, shit like that. He can Google it. But now the thing of it is that we learned then about that culture. And then that's why I really got enticed with it. And then later on, I discovered Alan Watts. I discovered Suzuki and a lot of people after that. But like the only real way that we can understand where we are and what we need to be doing is following other supreme cultures. I mean, to me, the United States of America is the freest, greatest country ever.
Yes, absolutely.
But now that doesn't mean we can't learn anything. I can learn. I'm a 51-year-old man. Shit, I forgot how old I was. So I mean, I understand that I can learn. Still. Gung Ho. That's it right there. That was a great movie. So people need, but now you got to reach way back to watch Gung Ho. Me and you probably watched it together. And talked
we
about
did.
It.
I mean, because I had that funny guy. Okay, anyway,
Michael
yeah,
Keaton.
yes, Michael Keaton, Gung Ho. It's from way back. Oh crud! I hope that don't start playing.
No, yeah, I got you. So, So what Donald's going to describe? He's been talking about the motor and how it evolves and that kind of stuff. And of course, what he's saying, I've heard him say is that this thing uses methane from calves and other cows that the Japanese are studying. They have some
From
kind of
poop.
Yeah.
Poop general. All farm animals, it's just they're concentrating on cows.
Because steak is beautiful.
Yes.
So they're going there and they're figuring out ways. There's basically the same cows that produce milk also produce shat. And that shat can be used to make methane, which can be used to power, in some processed way, hydrocarbon cars, which produces an exhaust out the back of it.
which is water.
Water.
Yes, I mean, so
I mean, how bad is that?
well, and
Unless
again,
it has like nuclear fusions
Oh,
resultants, which it doesn't. does
Mr.
it?
Mr. Fusion from the Back to the Future, where he comes in and tells
Exactly.
Marty, he says, "I need to refuel."
1.21 gigabytes. Yeah, that.
A banana peel and
Yeah.
half a beer and a can.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is again, Toyota is. I'm impressed because I like the Japanese culture. I believe they're honorable people, and they've got a good thing of suffer for the betterment of everybody and this and that, and but there's things we all disagree and agree with. But with that particular one, they took a very unpopular method to try to address this issue.
Everybody's been talking
to
about it.
create a way to justify investing in these cars. I mean, because again, they had the looming technology. Again, if you would have to look the video up. I hope we can find the link and we'll post it in maybe the description.
Yeah.
They were talking about they had all this old looming technology for something. And they took that looming technology and adapted it to create a carbon fiber tank that contained 10,000 pounds of hydrogen to be able to do this process.
And it was from the sewing industry,
Yes, it was from the sewing industry. They took
the textile industry in Japan.
Yes, I mean, it was something they used for something else. They found a way to, hey, you know what? If we're going to do this, we can do that. And we're going to skip making internal combustion engines run on water. There's tons of videos where people do make that happen, and it's electrolysis, create the hydrogen, It works. You can make it happen. Now, I'm going to tell you a big thing. Now, this is going to touch back on what we were discussing about people racing. Okay, so if you don't really... DC motors or AC motors being treated as a simulated DC using IGBT technology, they give you instant torque. If it's a DC motor, you get complete torque from the slowest speed to the absolute highest speed.
So, like in the eighth of a mile, you gonna whip somebody's ass.
Absolutely. I
Yes.
mean, again, we're also apples and oranges in the technology.
No, hold on. We pointed out my mistake. I wanna
Umbages,
point out-
umbages. Yeah, apples and umbages.
Anyway,
Hana. But, it truly is a totally different situation. I mean, electric motors with permanent magnets, induced magnets, different ways. DC gives you a different type of control. An internal combustion engine is, there's slack, there's spin up times. You're taking a chemical process, making it to a gas to turn it into mechanical motion, which creates torque in a liquid torque converter, which turns the transmission, and the gears give you all that. So you're looking at 2 or 3 exchanges of level of energy.
Yeah.
Energy can neither be created nor destroyed.
be transformed.
It can only be transformed. So you
Yeah.
take gasoline, oxygen, create a spark. Boom. Explosion energy. You're going to get some of that to the pistons. Some is going to be lost to heat, loss, gas, So you're talking about a loss at every little stage.
Let me talk about loss real quick.
Good.
So I had a Toyota Prius. I've mentioned it several times now. And of course, there is a certain level that you come to a loss with it. Out of it, I got 280,000 miles, and I went up there and I was having problems out of my tail lights. Anything electronical in the car, I was like going, hey man, my lights are going off. These police are stopping me all the time. I mean, what's going on, man? And I had a discussion with a cop. He's like, I've changed it 5 times this fucking week. You change it. And he was like, you need to get your attitude in straight, homo. I'm like, okay, I'll change it right now. I'm sorry. I've been an
Was he
asshole.
Mexican? I mean,
He was a Mexican guy.
I see. You
So-
did an accent. Go ahead.
I did it on purpose because
I know, I know.
you're in America and you're not fucking doing it right, homie. It's like you're doing it wrong. So anyway, I finally found I love Mexican people. By the way.
I know. I was just
I
being
love
facetious.
tequila. You
I
give me
was being
1,800 tequila,
facetious.
Respaldo. I drink it with you all night long. I will cook a goat with you. I
Please
will.
continue.
I will.
I'm getting uncomfortable.
I have had many goats with Mexican people and Guatemalan people. Too.
Hey, barbecue goat, coon.
You got some Coronas and some goat, you call me.
Hey, I tell you what. Now that's totally different podcast. Now, anyway,
Well,
all right. So, sorry, I was being facetious. Please continue.
Well,
You were talking about, he had stopped you multiple times. You didn't know how to solve
Okay,
the wiring problem.
okay, that's right. So that's right. But it wasn't a wiring problem. It was a battery problem.
Yeah.
So after a certain amount of time, this was 5 years, 280,000 miles away. I never changed the windshield wiper. I never changed the battery. I never did anything until around 250,000 miles, and all of a sudden I'm going, I got some problems here, bro. I can't even figure this out. I've been changing light bulbs out. I've been doing all this stuff.
Are you Mexican now?
I love Mexican culture. I love jalapenos. I love Coronas.
Well,
I love tequila.
Well, hey, we've had some of those to discuss later.
We have.
There is a time span for electronic devices, especially with the Prism. That was
Prius.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. There was a Prism too, but it wasn't Toyota.
It wasn't Toyota. We're gonna get back to this Toyota hybrid thing you're talking
We
about. We're
will,
gonna talk
but
about it in a minute. But this is the fun part.
Well, it is. Those cars were early adopters that, again, they invested tons of money and lost ass loads of money to try to introduce this new, better combination that could potentially, if you believe in climate change.
But let me say this: we didn't lose lots of money because I got 280,000 miles, and I got a $3,700 government rebate, which right now you'll get a rebate under this new plan that they're putting out if your car has American batteries, and I'm sure they all will, because Elon Musk and his group, in fact, his co-founder with Tesla, you and I talked about this guy.
Right, yeah, he's starting something like that. But, I mean, that's not quite where I was going with that. It was more...
I know that, but that's important to know for these people.
It really is. It really is. I kind of meant that the R&D, I mean, a company invests a certain amount of R&D. I mean, take any drug company.
Yeah.
They are going to invest until they have this pill that works. And it took maybe...
Love them all we do.
Let's say it cost them $10 million to develop it. Well, they're going to pass that cost to the consumer. Like, took us $10 million. It's a popular pill. We're going to make this much for that, to offset R&D. And then eventually it goes to cheaper. They lost money at the beginning to try to get the technology out.
They made a risk.
There you go. That's probably exactly what I really meant.
They made a risk. And sometimes it pays off.
And it did.
And whenever you invest in a Japanese company like Toyota, this is my opinion. I've invested in them for a long time, since the 1980s. I'm a 50-something-year-old male. I have bought Toyotas in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of miles out of all of them. So, whenever you're talking about this hydrogen drive, this is serious shit. I mean,
it really is, because again, you're talking about a way to actually have what we always dreamed, the motor that runs on
perpetual
water.
energy. Perpetual energy.
It can, because now it will have a battery. Because it has certain control functions that need to be active all the time. Yeah. But with dynamic braking, regenerative braking, safety, several items. I mean, it's all going to go up. But the plan is they're introducing it at such a low level that if you wanted to make the investment, then you could. But currently, just in California, that's where they have put that money. And I hope it grows. I just don't want anybody to just write it off as another left-wing climate change thing when it's not. It's just a way to try to get to the flying cars. And, hey, we recently saw where an FAA is giving approval to a flying car.
But also Arkansas, back in 2006 under Huckabee, which he changed after that. But that's how we got ours, was under Huckabee. But it's because of a federal thing. And right now, there's another opportunity for a federal grant that goes out to states in terms of them saving money and being able to gain money as a state. And you always got to be thinking about state economics. I mean, I'm a dumbass sitting in a tent having a beverage on a Friday afternoon, but I know damn well that I've got to think about the future. I got another generation to take care of. And of course, we've already talked about Kentucky. All the stuff they're seeing, a lot of us, we're like going, hey, this is some crazy weather. Why am I having this in December? Why are my kids in shorts on December?
Yeah, I just think. Yeah,
But I don't think. Hold on, let me
Go
explain
ahead,
a little bit
please.
more.
Go,
I don't
please,
think
I'm
it's.
sorry.
I don't think it's all man-made. I'm not saying that. I think things change, but I think it's a reminder for us to be careful about what we do. You know, and always, you know, I started this off as like going, hey, you know, I tried to do less of this, more of that. Try to drive a vehicle that was more handy because of the fact that, you know, maybe there is something to what these guys are saying. You know, we've been in this mode of distrusting science for like the past almost a decade now. You know,
Yeah.
and so like, where am I to really believe? Am I to believe that people that study and look at the numbers every day going, and I've looked at numbers, I know that numbers show you trends. I don't give a shit if you're inside of a small business, if you're inside of a big business.
Well,
And wherever you're at, if you see trends that go up or down, you know that some of them are good and some of them are bad, contingent upon what the variable is.
right, and depending on whether you believe in that variable or if you disbelieve it. I mean,
I mean, reality is reality, whether you believe
well,
in it
it
or
is.
not.
It's all right.
you
So,
know.
I mean, just to touch on that science side of it, I mean,
People can't look at the reality of something.
well, right, science. People think science knows it all. Well, science can know it all with the information it has at that particular point.
Yeah.
All right. So now
That's
then,
right. That's right.
You know.
That's right.
All right. So now that's
There could be
they don't-
conflicting views on what to do with that information.
That's right. And
That's
there
right.
can be conflicting views on
Uh-huh.
once that particular thing expands on them. Oh, wait a
Okay,
minute.
hold on. But where do you want to put your money at there?
But again, now it goes on you being the individual that is an adult and a person
Yeah.
to make your own decisions by reading for yourself. Don't just listen to what somebody else says. You read multiple sources.
That's anti-American you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I mean free thinking. Oh
No.
man,
But
imagine
no,
that.
that's what we're about, though. If you read the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, I mean, isn't
That
that what
is-
we're supposed to be around?
Oh, wait, that's
Maybe
what
I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely not wrong. But
I'm
apparently,
wrong.
some people have forgotten that. I mean, because there's arguments about this of just the simple things of like we're talking about with the cars. Hey, very easy thing. Some people, there's been a few experiments about.
But I was talking about hoorah Japan, and now we're going back to America. So like I'm the communist here on a.
Well, if you think you're the communist, I didn't say that. Those words never crossed my lips.
You see where we're going.
Yes.
We believe in America. I'm gonna tell you, I don't think there's any way you can describe us as being red-blooded American males. I mean, we were out here. We love women. We love hot dogs. As long as they're not too phallic, we can deal with them. We love apple pie, and we definitely love Chevrolets.
I never thought of a hot dog as phallic unless
Well-
unless my woman was eating it. Please
Yeah,
continue.
well,
Ah.
I've seen your woman eating one recently.
Yeah, I'll say that. Well, I hope
That was a
you-
video, right?
Oh yeah.
It was not. That's a jab at her. He would never show me anything like that. I can assure you.
yeah.
Anyway, so I can cut that out if you want me to.
Yeah, no, leave it, man. I don't. But no, I mean, just
We gotta have an inside joke that's got this fourth wall. Sometimes we want to talk to the fourth wall in Mexicano.
That's right.
Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
A lot of that adds up, and it goes back to we've talked about hey, if you're gonna actually work on cars and try to be old school, I'm gonna fix up a '69 to race and look nice. In the future, you're going to have to, hey, go salvage through electric motors, and you're going to have to be smarter about how those do those things. And
You know why?
It's just-
those cars are getting beat now. Those
yes.
electric motors are whipping their asses through the
They
8,
are.
the quarter, the mile, the
and
one
again, yeah,
half
if-
mile, the
if you
one
look
and a
at
quarter mile.
the energy exchange for the conservation of energy,
Yeah.
the electric car will always beat it because of
Transmission. It doesn't need to change gears.
It doesn't.
Number one.
It's direct drive, torque,
Like your
controlled mowers or engines. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Yeah, you said mowers and I said mowers. Man, but
This was all my fault. Yes.
yes, it was. It was your fault. Motors. I mean, But hey, that's going to be.
We
the
have
future
so
of
much fun. Sometimes I do. Yes, you do.
it. But when we get back to back to cars, and we're talking about
Yeah.
not your grandpa's Chevrolet, and we're trying to cover a little bit into the future. I hope everybody will read
Let
up
me say
on
this.
please.
I remember the first time I saw a 1988 Chevrolet, and your dad.
Had a black long wheelbase.
If it would have been a short wheelbase, I would have loved it more than I did. But I loved it as it was.
Right. It was the first year they changed. In '87, they still kind of had the body style of the '95s and stuff. Now, I
those-
love a 95 and a 77
97?
Fleet Side Chevrolet.
Yes. All of those are good.
Yeah, I love blocky. I like the blocky body styles.
That
But
88.
in 88 was when they kind of did that brow change. The first vehicle
Yeah.
that truly kind of deviated from the original bad bow tie idea.
That's right.
So, please.
Well, and not only that, but the air conditioning vents. I really appreciated those air conditioning vents in those 88 and above vehicles, man. Before that, they were like they were like not blowy, they were sucky, you know? That's my opinion, you know? But anyway, I remember one night in a Ford, what was that thing?
It was
called?
an LTD Ford,
Yeah.
4-door. It was basically a police cruiser civilian model.
It would
just
haul
gray.
ass, too.
It was. Yes, it was. Now, again, we're talking about
85,
big block.
86.
This is times
In a
when
police interceptor vehicle.
right. I
Brand
mean, that's
new.
what I'm saying. Is these are vehicles where you know you had to try to milk extra horsepower by changing weights,
Yeah.
taking air conditioner belts off, no
right.
power steering. You had to keep all that horsepower in that engine.
That's right.
But now this particular one was just a mama's model that we were out driving in.
Had leather seats, air conditioning, all that kind of
It
shit.
had
There
all
was
the-
nothing stripped off that one.
There you go. It was an absolute pimp's Cadillac, but it was an LTD.
But we were young boys, and there's been very few times that we got to go out and just be like, what the fuck? What do you do? I mean, what do you do as a young guy?
Well, you know, in
Yeah.
our area, I mean, you know, we had the loop of you drive from, let's see, you come into town, you would drive to McDonald's,
Yeah.
Sonic, Walmart,
Yeah.
and and I think Brookshire's was Safeway at that time.
Got the in.
And and then you just kind of made that 3-point loop. You would go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
So you go to Sonic for what? I said Sonic was the drinks, Andy's for the burger, and McDonald's for the fries. I think is the way that worked out then. We're sorry for the bad noise.
Well, you're exactly right, and I remember that night. 'Cause I've got two nights to explain with Donald. Now we have a UPS truck here, and you have to excuse that because if you ever live in a place where it had UPS trucks, which I'm sure you do. But anyway, so yeah, here's the deal. We were sitting there and driving. No, we was stopped, and we were like we had two different situations. Let me get it right
Yes.
here. We had a lot of noise here. I'm so sorry. So we had. I'm gonna throw two stories at you that ties in one thing. We were sitting there that night. We just turned 16. I had, maybe he had, and we were like, "Holy shit!" You know, we were like, we said we were high on some kind of whatever kind of a drink. You know,
A&W
root
cream
beer.
soda is what we were actually drinking.
But
Yes.
it was one of those moments we go, "Holy shit, dude! We just fucking made another level." We were at the fucking 16-year-olds, and then we were sitting in Florida at this bar. Although we couldn't buy alcohol at the time because we were too young, we were buying shrimp and I was eating it wrong. But we were sitting there and we both had this thing of like, holy shit, man, this shit's about to change for us.
Right.
Because we were graduating high school. We were like,
We're at the point to put childish things behind us.
Yeah.
It was a paradigm shift in thinking. I mean,
Yes.
we've mentioned that. It's truly, I mean, because I remember we just, you know, on that trip, you know, we had stopped and we were just riding around, just being kids. And we were drinking A&W cream soda. And I remember, yeah, you can be embarrassed or not, but we somehow convinced ourselves sniffing the heater out of the vents made us higher. We could not figure out why we felt high.
why am I so high, man?
Yeah. We were drinking A&W cream soda and sniffing the heater out of the vents
It's
because
so good to me, man.
yeah, we did. You know, hey, judge us or don't. That's okay.
I did feel high though, but I think
we did.
I
We
think it was
both
from that
did.
feeling, though, man.
It was, but you know, we were also riding around in Arkansas with the windows down, the heater turned
Right
up,
up. Yeah.
with the radio blasting. You know,
Turn up the radio.
there you go. You know,
Or something
come
like
on, feel the noise. Yeah,
right there.
those songs. Yeah.
That's it, right there.
And
Yeah.
so you know that is that time period. But yeah, we did have a paradigm shift. But you know, up to that point, you know, we had just we're gonna party, we're gonna do this, and we were very liberal. And
Very
the
liberal.
thing we did.
I didn't give a shit about anybody,
I-
man. If you did
right.
whatever, you stay the fuck away from me.
But
homie.
when we graduated
Yeah.
that night, we loaded up. Now this is probably nothing that really happens much anywhere unless people just are rich. Our school had a senior trip. The seniors would,
very
the
wealthy,
juniors
I
and the
understand.
seniors would work to pay money, concession stands for ball
Yes.
games. You know, candy bar drives, anything to make money
Yes,
to
every day.
earn money for the senior vacation. And
right.
the traditional vacation was we would drive down to Florida in some buses, get into a hotel they had set up, go to Disney World, have some beach time. I mean, have an experience outside of Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know, and that was the idea of it. And of course, spring break style, yeah, things happened. It got a little crazy. But that was the biggest thing that I come back to my paradigm shift of mine.
Paradigm shift.
I mean, we were like on the bus and we were partying, and yeah, we were all the way down there sneaking drinks, you know, teenagers.
Of course.
And
we ran out.
but then when we got there and everything got settled, it was like all these other folks that were the stars of our classes.
Yeah.
They were still party. They were making idiots of themselves. They were starting fights. What actually kicked us out was a few of them threw a damn bed out a window, blamed my buddy. The hotel asked us to leave in the middle of the night. So yeah, it's but
Hey,
our paradigm was.
Let me say this.
Yes.
To this day, I did not fucking do that, man. Okay? I did
I know
not
you
pull
didn't
the
do it.
fucking alarm. And you bitches riled on me way too much. So I did break the fucking bottle of cologne. Aspen or whatever it
well,
was.
now I left that to you. knew
I
it.
broke that motherfucker, and I hope y'all enjoyed it for treating me fucking wrong, man.
Well, I left that for your reveal. Thank you, Brad. Yay!
Now you know.
All right. Well, so that is the paradigm shift we're discussing. It's
One person knew it, Karen. She's like, I know you're guilty, Brad. I'm like, I'm not guilty, Karen. And Karen goes, yes, you are guilty. I know you are, you dirty.
yeah. But the thinking of leaving childish things behind.
Yeah.
We truly had
Did I?
that change. I mean, what?
Go. I'm just picking.
Oh,
I was joking.
I didn't hear what you said. I
okay.
apologize.
You didn't need to.
I'm gonna have to listen, aren't I?
No, don't. Unless I go up here. Yeah.
Hey, yeah. All right. Well, we changed our thinking to where
Yeah.
once we got there, we did, because high tech rednecks is the way I've always thought we are. We are the country bumpkin, but don't treat me that way because I'll embarrass your ass. I mean, that's the assumptions that come in from the way we talk and the way we act, because we act stupid because we're childish because it's fun. It's shit.
Well,
If you're not living and having fun, you're being too serious.
Well, and I agree with that. Of course, my perspective is that we all have to grow. If you're
Yep.
not growing, you're dying.
Hey.
And of course, like there are things that all of us could say to each other that we shouldn't say. I think that over this past 6-7 years of existence, we've all became very comfortable with saying shit we shouldn't say.
Yes, because it's kind of an anonymous thing through the internet.
It comes from the very fucking top.
It does, but
and that's rude, man.
But
I don't say that
think
kind of shit. If I see somebody that's walks up to a stand and says, "I like to order a mustard and biscuit," well, I ain't gonna make fucking fun of him, man. I'm gonna give this motherfucker a mustard and biscuit. I'm not gonna fucking drag his name in the ground. If this motherfucker wants a mustard and biscuit, guess what Brad's gonna do?
How about your sister wife? She won't want to.
Well, I mean, I would give anybody that wants a mustard and biscuit a motherfucking mustard and biscuit. If my kid asked me one time, my stepchild asked me if I wanted a ketchup sandwich. I'm like, sure, you can have a ketchup. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's the making assumptions without actually knowing.
You don't need to. You don't look here. You can judge shit all you want to, but the reality of it is that where we're at in time, with really we're talking about propulsion systems. We're talking about sandwiches. Maybe we're hungry. I don't know.
Well, we're probably all hungry, but I'm gonna drag this by the collar and the ear all the way back to the.
I want to talk about these Toyota hydrogen engines. We talked about the cows. We talked about all that. But what about them?
All right. Look up that video. Now then.
Maybe we should provide a link for you. I don't know.
I think we discussed it. I said we were going to try to.
Yeah.
in the
We're going to do
description.
that for you. That was my bad.
Yeah, it's all right. But anyway, so what we're trying to do.
Hey, we're also experimenting with a new rum.
Yeah, well, a new drink. I don't know if it's called a rum.
No, we're still experimenting the rum too, because I'm still feeling the after
Oh, that-
effects of all this Barbados liquor in my body.
Bumbo, the one that tastes like butterscotch, and then the one that is
Well,
American white oak charred,
yeah.
aged with and in sherry cask, and then they blend them together. So you've got a 2-barrel aged that mixes to make the XO of the Bumbo.
And it's occurring way down there in the Caribbean.
Yeah. I mean, so the environment's totally salty and all these things. Now,
1 second though. So you have Scott, because we talk about different whiskeys on here.
yes.
So let's back up.
Environmental factors. affect them.
Environmental factors. Talking about Scottish whiskeys, 12 years to get the same thing you might get is 8 years in Kentucky, which could be about 3 years in Mexico, and you're over here in the Caribbean. You're talking about 18 months. It's gonna be some dark liquor, or is that stuff? I read about that. That's not colored. That
Yeah.
came from that is a bourbon barrel that they sucked.
Yes,
that they got the color out of.
that particular company I know buys, oak barrels, white
Yes.
stave, burnt, used oak barrels.
That's right, burnt. That's right.
And
That makes it even more dark.
right
Yes.
now, I don't know all the details. Of course, I'm sure some of it's secrets, but
Yeah.
I just know they said it's that the used aged burnt barrels and sherry casks. Now I don't know if they mix them, maybe they age them in each one. But now sherry. Now look, I know zero about sherry.
Nothing. I don't even know what
and
it is.
Brandy, I kind of know what it is, but I don't even want to go down that road.
Wine
Blah.
made into distilled wine.
Yeah, you're using the skins and stuff. I think
Something.
it's almost moonshine, but they're using the skins and leftovers from the juice to make it. Now that's my understanding
That's my
of it. Now
understanding.
sherry, I don't know. I think it's just sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
all right. So
It's soaked in all that.
all of that stuff. All right. So now all of this comes back to flying cars and hydrogen engines.
And rum, which we advise never to mix. By the way, drink responsibly. Never drink and drive.
Never ever drive. Yeah, no, don't do that shit.
No. If you're somewhere and you drink, take a nap before you go home.
Oh, absolutely. Or at least talk long enough that you ain't got to worry about it.
But anyway, so you always want to do whatever you feel you're comfortable with. And remember,
All right, so flying cars is now going to be a thing.
it looks like it is.
It truly is. I mean, I've looked into, drone technology. All right, so
hold on. Will they be electric?
yes,
Gasoline?
most
or
of them, no, they're
hydrogen?
all electric. Some of them could be combo, but there's the thing is, we got to back it back up to drone technology. The drone technology and the advances in IGBT technology, magnet.
What's that?
That is, you asked me right
Is it like
now.
GPS?
No. It has to do with taking DC and making gates. You create a bridge that makes a 3-phase AC from a DC
So it supercharges
source.
a DC source.
It's just
It utilizes it better than other ways.
yes,
All right, let's move on.
yes,
Let's
it
move
does.
on.
It utilizes.
I just wanna make sure I understand.
Right? Yeah, it's taking a battery, which
Yeah.
is straight DC, like your car. What's in a flashlight? You stuck it to your tongue. Oh, that tingles.
9-volt.
Right, yeah. So it takes that straight DC and you can chop it up. It makes what they call a full wave bridge rectifier, but it's like mostly 3-phase. Sometimes, I don't know. It depends on how they do it.
Don't get too deep with it. But
You're taking DC, making AC to make variable speed motors.
There you go.
To get the advantages of the instant torques, the same torque across the whole range. Like we was talking about, you're taking energy and exchanging it to create torque. If you look at a gasoline motor, it takes time to develop torque over a certain moment. So let's say it's 1.3 seconds to create 800 foot-pounds of torque in a gasoline engine.
But I want to play with. I want you to help me understand these zero-turn mowers.
Okay.
Okay. So you're talking about I love mowers, okay? But instead of gasoline, we're going to diverge for a minute. But it has that same kind of transmission you're talking about in it. I think that people can understand it, but it's not going to be electric.
It's hydrostatic.
It's hydrostatic. So
Yeah.
what is the difference between hydrostatic and what you're talking about?
The hydrostatic is a little like the same way, but what we're doing is you're taking a compressed fluid and giving
fluid.
you a non-compressible fluid. Air is compressible. but some liquids.
So it's fluid. It's making it do that.
It's fluid. It's an oil, and what it does is that 25 horsepower mower on the back runs basically a hydraulic system,
Yeah.
and you're using variable control valves to make the wheels turn at different rates.
So there's no chains or belts.
No. Well, most of them are. I have no clue if some are,
Maybe
some aren't,
not,
but
yeah.
most of the time they are just direct drive,
But it's not-
hydrostatic.
But it's not electric or a
No,
hydraulic motor.
no. It's not the typical transmission torque converter situation.
Right.
Torque
Torque converters. That's big.
There you go, the torque converter. I mean, that's the big distinction between internal combustion, torque conversion to transmission to wheel power.
That's right.
I mean, whereas the hydrostatic is, it's almost like a wood splitter. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just providing pressure and you're controlling where it goes. It's just in a hydrostatic, the pressures are lower. You have variable control of where the flows go.
I don't remember a lot about being a mechanic, but I remember at the torque converter, in front of that, you could have diesel, you could have gas, you could have butane, electric, whatever. But now that's where it starts. That's where it goes back. That's
any
what transfers that.
any rotational energy,
Yeah,
be it mechanical, electric,
whatever.
rotational energy translated into linear motion.
That's right.
It's just there's an exchange right there. It's just the electric motors can do it directly, and we have just great control.
But you don't have a liquid, so we ain't got to change out no hydraulic
No,
fluid.
it's all the quote theory of electrons, the theory of electricity. We see the results of electricity. That's still a theory.
So I don't have no oil change in my Tesla.
I didn't say that. Now there could
Do
be.
you?
Yeah, I don't know. I have not done enough.
But I mean,
research
there's
for
no
that.
motor oil I got to change.
Not in terms of internal combustion motor, as
Ah,
far
well, it
as
could
every
be.
3,000 miles. As far as I know, because I do not own a Tesla. So
It could be some very fancy little.
There could be
drops of
some. We need
blue grease or something.
Yeah, that's right. Every 10 days, you need to do this. I don't know. I don't own one.
Yeah.
But there is just a huge difference when you start comparing these apple and oranges of internal combustion mechanical energy
Yeah.
converted into linear motion
These-
versus electric.
These are totally different animals. I mean,
Apples and oranges.
so for the average person, like I'm trying to get to my office. I'm trying to get to this work site, and then 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 Andy's, and then I want to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what, Brad? You have the right to get in a 10-foot tall, 12-foot wide,
No.
27 diesel
No.
engine powered truck to do that.
Yeah.
Or
Or-
you can also, you know what? I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but how about I edge on the side of caution and let me try a little technology that wasn't invented back when people. You know how insurance started? I mean, Jesus, there
Tell
was
me how it
two
started.
cars, and they ran into each other in New York City. There was two cars.
Yeah.
Look that shit up. I don't know the damn quote, but
But
I
it sounds,
promise you,
probably about
insurance started because people said, "Well, hey, you might have an accident."
Yeah.
And sure enough, the only two vehicles in New York had an accident.
That's a hell of a racket because it's predicting the future, which is all we're trying to do now.
And you're betting against it. That's all you're doing is gambling.
That's all you know. Sometimes you got to short it.
Binary.
Sometimes you got to invest in it. To me, I don't know that we're much further past the whole hybrid situation. I don't know that I want to be out. Like I saw this thing the other day. It was like this. I think it was like a meme of a black rapper, and he was like, "You want me to invest $210,000 in this car, and I could run out of juice in the middle of town, running from the police that hate me?" Hell no. But now see, but that's a cultural change for
It is.
because
It's
there's a larger
the acceptance of
see, like
change.
the thing of it is change is I was up there looking at demographics the other day, and I was so captivated by it because the world that we're trying to predict is not the world we're in now, which is the world we were born in is not the world we're in now.
No, I mean, there's been
It's gonna change.
There's been an introduction of chaos. I mean,
But has there? It's always been that kind of shit going on.
well,
man.
it has,
You know?
but I'm just saying that because of this pandemic, this was a
that's different.
globally
That's different.
experienced
It was different.
change, which has caused global consequences that less informed and less willing to have an open mind folks will accept as only certain people's faults. You know,
Yeah.
This is an unprecedented event. We've never dealt with it. We don't know. We didn't deal with it right at first because, well, there hasn't been enough time. Time is the only measure you have.
Do you have faith in humanity?
I have faith that.
Do you think the people that we're uncomfortable with now, just like nobody was comfortable with us? Of course, they've forgotten about Generation X, but do you think they can? Do you have faith in the people you raised to do the right thing, or no?
I have faith in the children I raised, but I also have faith that if anybody knew how I actually did it, I would basically have to wear that big red letter. I mean, I'd be ostracized. I mean, because I was so outside the norm. I was a person that said, "Look, I'm going to teach you how to live in this world."
Yeah,
but at the same but at the same time, I'm going to teach you. Don't always believe just what that person says. They may have a great point. Listen to it, but don't change your point just because they said it.
Well, here's what I tell my children: work hard every day. Take what you hear, a little bit of it here, a little bit of it there. Grow from it all, whether it's positive or negative.
Do what you love, call it work.
There you go. That's it. I'm not trying to do anything other than that.
And that's it.
And we appreciate you Toyota guys working with that hydrostatic. Yeah. Not hydrostatic.
No, the hydrogen fuel cell technology.
I know he'd get it right with that thing. And those cow manures, because we love steak. Please remember, we love steak. We want to keep it with us forever. I want to have beef fajitas.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, we could go back to the flying thing.
I want to have the beef fajitas.
Because I think the flying thing is going to be something that, as it becomes a little more mainstream. It's kind of like
it's going to be here, though.
Well, it will be, and you know, a lot of folks still think Jetsons and stuff. But you know, again, you know, the drone technology is allowing that. I mean, you know, because of you know, electronics, GPS. I mean, higher speed communications, better networking, 5G. I mean, millions of these tiny advancements are adding up. I mean, if nobody knows much about fusion,
what is 5G? Can you explain to me in a way I can understand or no?
All it boils down to is they call it 5G because it covers a certain bandwidth.
But does it have anything to do with like IP addresses associated with the ground? GPS?
It has to do with the amount of data that can be safely transferred in different bands. Now you're going back to broadcast. You're taking one thing, converting to radio waves and do it. Because at the end of the day, a cell phone is nothing but a radio transmitter receiver. It's a high-tech walkie-talkie. If anybody is old enough, they remember touch shoe talk. That's all it was. You know, but 5G gets you into the area that the bandwidth of the carrier wave is enough that you can carry multiple streams of data at a very high pace. But it's also getting close to the level that interferes with the high-speed data transfer between planes, which is why, you know, there's been a lot of about 5G nationwide around. Well, yeah, they've started 6G. Now, I haven't read.
My phone has hit 6G before.
And I've read. I don't know much about it, but it's still going to all be the same problem. They're trying to move further and further in the band and be able to more digitize it to be able to squeeze more data in the same analog bandwidth type situation. And that's the way it is, you know. You got fusion technology, you know. We've all believed.
That's important.
Well, we've all believed.
You want to
in
move ahead.
Well, I'm just going to make it as a little mention.
Stuff at a distance is what Einstein called it.
Well, and that's not really fusion. I mean, they've actually started being, you know, hey, they can actually achieve a sustainable, take a higher level element, break it apart, harness the energy from it, and the resulting things are harmless, unlike fusion, which of course creates the nuclear energy, the nuclear waste, the Chernobyl type thing.
Yes.
Well, and then the advancements of magnets, how they've done it. I mean, there's been some that they created a magnet the other day that had the highest Tesla level ever measured.
And here we go back to Tesla again. So, like a lot of people would tell you that even the universe is electric. That like you may have these other things going on, but ultimately to keep it all going, it's electric.
Well, if you back down all the way down to, you know, you're made of atoms, well, what is that? It's a positive and negative charge. I mean, it's a left and right, opposite, positive and negative charge that somehow coexist together.
Will a left and a right operate independently or no? I'm just trying to figure out.
Well, no,
so you have a bunch of one level things bang it against
no,
each
they're
other.
interconnected. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at a hydrogen, I mean, it's 2 and 2. I mean, it's a very easily dividable thing because there's an imbalance. The center has 2. There's only 1.
So
it breaks
what
off.
you're
But you take the
hold on now. Let's talk about masculinity here for a minute. I want to throw it in.
Okay.
Are you always the masculine in that equation or no?
No.
Sometimes do you get fucked? I'm talking to you, SA. Sometimes or do you take a this?
Oh, I like it. Hey, I'm giving up control sometimes.
But not that kind of control, homie. Not for me.
Hey, assume the position, bitch.
Well, you heard it right here, ladies. Rock and roll, baby, rock and roll.
Oh, no, wait. That was me telling her.
I got you.
Ah!
I misunderstand the
I
question.
know.
I did not know what you said to me. How pretty is your sister?
All right, man. Well, hey.
I
Where
hope
we
you
go
have
with this?
I think we're done, man.
I think so, brother. All right. Well,
We had a good time.
hey, I'm glad we had a great discussion, and I hope anybody who listens long enough has enjoyed
You made it
this.
here to us, homie.
There you go.
All right. Be good.
All right, brother.